We have a couple of other good calls we are going to go to real quick.
All right, let's dive in.
I think they're going to be nice and fun. So we are going to head back out to India. We're going to talk with Dave, he, him. Atheist wants to talk about undiscovered science. Well, hey, Dave, you were chatting with SR and Scott Dickie. What you got for us?
Hello. Hey.
Hey,
Dave.
What's up?
Yeah. So I believe that science hasn't been fully been discovered. There are certain aspects of science which are yet to be discovered, and the effects, the kind of effects that those things will have on our human soul and body and physical reality, we don't know. Nobody knows, because it's not out up till now. It's all a secret by the government. They have their own research lab. The coronavirus was one of the biological examples.
Wait. Hold up. Dave. We don't need to speculate and talk about, weird conspiracy theories, right? Okay. Germs are real. Vaccinations 100% work. This is not in question anywhere in the world, okay? This is a well-established fact that we have actually known for thousands and thousands of years, okay? Let's not worry about any of that. Let's go to the thing that you called in to talk about. But help me, okay? Clarify for me, because I'm of two minds right now. There's one part of me that thinks what you're saying is something akin to a quote from a man named Arthur C. Clarke. And that quote was that sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. That quote is not saying that magic is real. It is simply saying that once technology gets to a certain level of sophistication, it is fundamentally impossible to figure out the difference between that technology just working flawlessly and us not knowing about what that technology is and what people say when they talk about magic. That's one side of it, okay? The other side of it is something called the God of the Gaps, which is basically, hey, we don't know this thing yet in science. God's that thing. So help me out here. Which one of these routes are you going? Or am I just completely off base and there's a different route? You still with us, Dave?
I would say
You're not muted.
The
first one. Okay. Okay. So then let me just go into that for a second and just say that what that concept is getting at, that Clarke was expressing, is not a justification for accepting magic, right? What he is saying there is that because of the inability for human beings to differentiate between super crazy, awesome, advanced technology and magic, that honestly, it just makes more sense for us to take the stance of super advanced technology. So Arthur C. Clarke's quote there is not a justification for belief in magic, the supernatural, divine things, or deities. Does that make sense? Are you tracking?
And what makes you think that it already doesn't exist?
No. That can be a completely separate conversation. I'm willing to go there, and I'll give Scott that, because I've heard Scott say some really great things on why he doesn't accept, magic and the supernatural stuff. But are we at least on the same page there with that quote from Arthur C. Clarke that I mentioned? That what he's saying there is not.
Yes.
Okay, cool. So we're on the same page there. But I do think that's a great question, though. I think that's an awesome question, Dave. Like, hey, why are you guys not convinced of this stuff? Yeah, Scott, what do you think? Why are you not convinced of magic?
Rather, I would like to add that what makes you think that it doesn't already exist, because it already exists. That's what I think. It's already there.
What already exists?
Magic, which we are talking about right now.
Right.
Yeah.
You're saying magic exists. We're saying, hey, we don't necessarily believe that.
I just have one clarification I would like to ask
you're taking
Dave.
time into consideration.
Hang on just a second, Dave. We'll get back to you. Just Scott's got a question. We'll hit that
I'm
first.
curious as to the way you're phrasing your question or your statement that undiscovered science is God. Are you saying that, and this is related to what SR was talking about, but it's looking at it at a slightly different angle. Are you saying that there are things that science can't understand and that God must be doing those things? Or are you saying that there are things that we don't understand and those things are God? Is this an identity that you're talking about, or is it a unknown causation? Because as SR pointed out, one of those two things is literally just the God of the gaps, saying, here's a bunch of stuff we don't know. Let's call that God. Or are you saying that God must be causing those things because some science thing that we don't understand, like maybe dark matter or something. We don't have a really strong grasp of what dark matter really even is. Are you saying that dark matter is God, like God is dark matter, or God is causing the phenomenon that we call dark matter?
God is causing the phenomenon we call dark matter.
Okay. So why do you think that?
Because we are all data collection entities in this existence. This existence is a game, and the game is predetermined, so it's predeterministic. But the existence of game was caused by God Himself. And
that's your conclusion, right? What I want to know is how do you get how can you assert that? How can you support that statement?
Because we are a bunch of data collection entities. We are all a data collection entity that come here to this.
How does that get us? Let's hang on, Dave. Let's just say for the sake of this, like Scott and I aren't going to push back. You are right. One way you can describe human beings or just life in general. Let's just say we're data collecting entities. How does that point? Like, let's just take that as hardcore fact for a second. How does that fact get us to the conclusion that like God is real, like God is existent in the world around us? What is it about us collecting data that proves that God? Does that make sense? Like, what's that connection there?
Yeah. So, do you know ether? You know about ether?
I've heard it described. I'm not sure how that's going to make the connection, but I'm hoping you can tie it up for us. So, do you mean ether like the anesthetic, or do you mean like ether like the magical substance that the universe is suspended in? Second one?
Yes, that one. Second one.
Okay, all right.
So how does that connect to us being data collecting entities and then that making God an existent thing? How is ether the connection between those?
That's how God looks into you and looks through the world.
And is that how we're data collecting entities? Because God's looking through the ether into us?
Everything in this, like ether is everywhere, and you can he sees all of the reality through that.
So let's try again, Dave. I know that it can be difficult. I know that it can be difficult to stay focused on this, especially when I think we're not really clear on the terms that we're trying to hash out. It sounds to me like what you're saying is that human beings are data collecting entities. And because of us collecting that data on a regular basis, that shows us undeniably that a God must exist. Now, I personally don't see the connection to that, just the same as if Scott were to tell me, hey, Elliot, bees are a data collecting entity, and bees existing and being a data collecting entity proves that unicorns fart universes. I don't see the connection between those different things there. You brought us, hang on just a second. You brought us ether as being the connection, but I still don't feel like we have made any progress on this. So I want to start all over and I want to go back to this. How does us being data collecting entities show that a God must exist. What is that connection? Help me out.
Because we both accept the fact that we are data collecting entities, right? We accept that.
Sure.
Now, if any data collecting entity, if I put it on a particular frequency, like on a real frequency, like a physical frequency, then that data collecting entity will start behaving differently.
You still haven't made the connection, Dave. You still let me help you out. And just for funsies' sake, you're going to hear a beep because I'm muting you, because I know you were talking through that whole time just a second ago. I don't know why you were, because when you're doing that, it's very difficult to hear. So I'm going to break this down real simple, okay? Real simple here. If I say to you, Scott, hang on. Sorry, crew. I'm so sorry. I know I teed that up wrong. Scott, I'm going to present you with something here, okay? And I want you to help me out and tell me if this makes the connection. Human beings are data collecting entities. This proves that a God is real because God makes data collecting entities. We know for a fact it is true. God makes data collecting entities. We are data collecting entities. Therefore, God exists. Does that at least make sense? Like, it's a bad argument. It's fallacious on many fronts, but that at least has a through line for it. Whereas the other thing we've gotten so far, Dave, just has been complete non sequiturs. Like, is that fair? Like, if Dave said that to us, Scott, could we say, hey, we've got the connection?
In a way, yes. I mean, but in another very real way, you're putting the cart before the horse.
Right. I mean, it is fallacious. Yeah. But at least we understand the connection. Whereas currently, I genuinely have no idea how we get from us being data collecting entities to God existing. And again, we're not actually accepting that. We're just saying we're granting it for the sake of this argument so we can move on. So one more time, Dave, I would really want to know this connection. So again, the example I gave was, if you said human beings are data collecting entities, God makes data collecting entities, we are data collecting entities, therefore God exists. Like that is fine. That's fair. It's still got problems and we could touch on that, but at least there is a connection. So
at least there's some meat there that we can grab onto and discuss.
Right. So I'm going to shut up for just a second, but you're going to hear a beep. It's loud. I'm sorry, but now you are back on. What is that connection for us, Dave? Help us out, please.
Yeah, it's a tough one for me. I'm sorry. I'm not that.
No, Dave. I fucking love that response, Dave. I appreciate the fucking hell out of that, man.
Yeah.
That was so incredibly honest, and I think that is beautiful. I fucking love that you said that, man. So look, I'm not gonna hammer you anymore at all. I'm not gonna pressure you or nothing, man. All I'm gonna say is just call us back. Like, rewatch this, right? Listen to it again. Go, oh, you know what? I do have this great fucking argument. Hell yeah, man. Like, and bring it back to us, okay? Like, that is awesome that you said, you know what, man? Now that I'm thinking about it, I'm not sure, you know? Perfect, man. Get back to us, because we'll be on again. We do this show every week at 4:30 p.m. Central Time. So I'm going to drop you real fast just because we got a couple of other calls and I want to grab them real quick, Dave. But seriously, Dave, that may have been my favorite fucking call today.
Yep, I agree.
I appreciate the hell out of that. That is awesome. And again, back to, I always love to point inward before I'm pointing outward, right? And I want to say, us too, man. If you guys see us out there and we're not able to take that epistemically humble stance there when we truly don't know something. I mean, you hold our feet to the fire. You let us know. But when we don't know something, it is the right answer to say, I don't know.